All right. Yeah, given that my slides will download for the next 45 minutes, I'll just scroll through them in the overview. And I'll kind of half improvise because I got lots of speaker notes that I can't read right now. But it should be all right. I wrote my PhD in political science on this stuff, so I should kind of know it by heart. And yeah, I'll be talking a bit about from Trustless to Trustworthy, embedding crypto in commons governance. That is the result of a 6-year study on crypto commons, communities, and protocols, and basically looking into how commons-oriented communities use blockchain in order to further their goals and what obstacles they run into. Yeah, at the outset, that was in 2017 when I formulated this research and 2018 when I started. There was some mutual attraction between blockchain folks who were looking to the commons as a way of replacing state functions with commons and public goods mechanisms, and commoners looking, or commons projects looking to crypto as a new source of funding and governance mechanisms. Right? Nowadays we're much further, but that was the outset. And the premise, at least back then, was to incentivize voluntary contributions to the commons by aligning actors around collective resource management through economic incentives. The challenge, however, that many of these projects found over time, and that is still a challenge, I think, is that interfacing commons with markets adds pressure on their internal social norms. And if you are not careful about your boundaries, you might result in a breakdown of social norms. And yeah, I also have a definition here I will read out. It was an academic work after all. So to me, crypto commons are decentralized socio-technical systems that leverage blockchain technology to facilitate the collective stewardship of shared resources while incentivizing third-party actors to contribute to the objectives of the communities governing these commons. Yeah, the research questions loosely asked around what socio-technical affordances of blockchain are relevant to commons communities, what ideological tensions result from essentially a libertarian technology used for communal aims, and how do crypto commons projects navigate these ideological tensions, and then finally what political economy is emerging from these tensions and their resolution. I did this along 2 case studies. One of them was a project-based case study, the token engineering commons, which some of you might still remember, which actually still exists somewhat. And the other case study was a more ecosystemic case study of regenerative finance, or ReFi, which kind of peaked in 22, but also still is around, and many of the projects from back then, some of the projects from back then are still existing. Yeah, whereas the first case study revolves around mechanism design, community building, and implementation challenges and internal conflicts. Second case study revolved more around ideological tensions between corporate, libertarian, and activist actors, their approach to nature, to natural capital, and to tokenization of nature. So, to my key findings. First, the relevant affordances of blockchains for commons. I found that there are 3 affordances that are really relevant. The first is trustless accountability. The challenge here is that, especially with more heterogeneous contributions in a commons or in any community, you get into problems of relative valuation. So how much is your tweet worth versus your half year of coding, right? Is it the same? Can we even compare these? Is it 1 to 10,000? Is it time input? And so on. We can't really, or so far we haven't found ways to automate that. And as, trying to recall who, sorry, that was on a different conference today. As a guy from Octant, Julian, reminded us, this is still a political decision and we can't automate that away. Second affordance is contractual organizability. basically formalizing governance processes through automated contractual agreements, aka smart contracts, has lots of problems. One of them being that when these smart contracts are set up, and that's an expensive thing to do, and much can go wrong, you need to codify organizational aims and political values. And then you usually stick with them way too long, because it's quite hard to change these contracts on the go, and it's expensive, which is a problem for commons communities and so on. So you have to be very clear about your organizational aims and your political values at the start, or you run into problems. And third, permissionless mechanizability of institutional patterns, or permissionless institutionalization, is a great thing if it works. Usually it doesn't work. The idea is to automate formal rule sets as institutional mechanisms that guide behavior and expectations of actors. The challenge here is to find institutional mechanisms that are both accepted and useful to communities and are accepted by markets. So you can devise good fits for communities and would be nice to have. If market doesn't accept them, they're kind of useless if you want to interface with markets. Now to the tensions that arose or that I found existing around the use of these affordances by commons communities more specifically. On the one hand, actually the tensions I already mentioned, these are the challenges, right? In order to face these challenges and overcome them, crypto commons communities typically resort to three different measures. On the one hand, you have ideological compromise, simply accepting, for example, influx of market logic into some aspects of governance or of interaction with an outside. So as long as this is done consciously, I'd say it's all right in some areas. It can work in some areas. Problematic is more ideological infiltration. If it's not done purposefully, but just kind of happens because nobody really thinks about it or the implications of specific settings and of mechanism design. A hard limit I found, at least in my case studies, is internal monetization of relationships and giving strong primacy to the individual, which are core tenets of libertarian thought. A second way to deal with these tensions is technical adaptation. Great if you find a technical adaptation that works and is feasible and cheap enough to be done by your commons. Basically remediate libertarian configurations of technology through on and off-chain adaptations that might, for example, be an off-chain identification system that reverts on-chain anonymity and all the threats that come with it. The limit is, on the one hand, technical feasibility, and then also, again, economic rationale. Like you might take a functioning mechanism design from libertarian realm, adapt it quite a lot to your commons, but then it might lose acceptance by markets. And the third, and to me most interesting, and actually what I will talk about for the rest of this presentation, I think, is social scaffolding. So basically inscribing abstract software architecture into larger social ecologies and existing social ecologies that revolve not just around testing this one mechanism and developing until it works, but that have external aims, right? An actually existing commons, an actually existing community that then adopts some mechanism and tries it out, but that is bound together through trust and other interpersonal relationships. The limit here is that in absence of technical adaptations that basically lock it in code, you have constant pressure towards ideological compromise from market forces. So this builds on an understanding of regulatory forces of Lawrence Lessig, who sees them as defined by architecture, could be physical, could be code, market forces that play along the rules of architecture, or the possibilities given by architecture, social norms that further limit market behavior, and state. state that provides laws and supports social norms against market forces. In blockchain, state is impotent or inexistent. 1 minute? Damn it. All right. I'll rush. Political economy, it's difficult. Crypto commons are characterized. Anyone disagree? Yeah. Crypto commons are characterized by contradictions. We have always this battle between internal norms and external principles. However, they are stabilized by context. Social structures can help reinstate regulatory power balance, which is what I just talked about with social scaffolding. And forget about the last part. Now to my last slide, and I hope you give me that. How can we embed crypto in local commons? And how can we strengthen the social norms aspect of institutions? Let crypto fade into the background. It shouldn't be a center of attention. It's a tool that helps local communities do what they want to do. And then it can work, or that's what I found, rather than make it the sole focus of attention. Yeah, acknowledge the social dimension of socio-technical systems. Basically, continue and deepen this research on social scaffolding as an active factor that can further or hinder social norms enactment, and thus contribute to developing a more robust understanding of successful embedment of crypto in real life. And lastly, fund place-based experimentation. Traditional Dream Factory in Portugal, Switzerland, the Commons Hub in Austria or in Brussels are places that this is happening at. And I want to use the occasion and point you to the DAO pop-up 26 that is coming in May 26 and is happening at the Commons Hub in Austria, where we will do just that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
June 26.
It's in May.
Isn't it?
It's June right now.
2026.
It's 25.
2026. Oh, okay.
I'm quite sure it's May 26, but it's not locked in yet.
Amazing. Thank you so very much, Felix.
Thank you.
Felix is a political economist and community organizing working at the intersection